friends and nerdines and all of those who want to be some, because you might not have any idea about pedals and that's why you join me. That's where I was a few years ago. I had no clue. And now, still very little. Which again was why, luckily I read up on it. I was gonna tell you that the Royce repeater fuzz is like, what the fuck, why? You know, well, you don't need this pedal, forget about it. But then again, different angle. The angle is, it's not some idea that Mr., let's call him Royce, had. And he had a, stupid idea and I was gonna go, that's a stupid idea. No, it's a recreation of two classic pedals. And as that, if they're classic and people really want that classic sound, there's a value and a validity to the existence of this pedal. Apparently Vox had I'm gonna call it tremolo, but let's call it percussion effect. And he recreated that in the repeater fuzz while also combining something called a tone bender, tone bender Mark II, which apparently used to be a Vox pedal, in here in the same box that you can switch on and off independently. Now let's look at the sounds before I bitch little bit about the practicalitutionalness. So, we have an Ibanez Premium RG721 F5, I don't know. Into a Carl Martin Custom Shop 50 going downstairs into the basement, into a 112 Fender cab mic with a Sennheiser E609 going up here into the Universal Audio Apollo. So, let's look at the fuzz side first. Oh. Let's turn on the camera first. There it is. Why didn't I produce a track with it, which I usually do? Check out the My 2 Cents section, then you know why. White fat fuzz, not too broken, not too overdrivey. It's a clear fuzz. That's neat. Maybe with some tape delay. El Capistan from Strymon. Makes the guitar sound a little bit synthy, but in a good way, so that's neat. All you have is an attack knob, which is probably more a gain knob. Or like on a big buff, maybe a sustain knob, something like this. We have, of course, volume. Now that that was hell of a stupid riff. And now we have the repeater side. Sounds like this. To me, it sounds like a square wave tremolo. On, off. But there's a little bit of a different attack happening here. It sounds... what's the word? Different. So it is square wavy tremolo-ish, but not quite. There's a boost now because, as he states on the website, it sounds as if it's getting quieter because you're cutting away half the signal. So you can just boost that to make up for that. Let's try to get a delay to be in that tempo. Some seriously cool effects there. No questions asked. Wait, my good friend Javier is asking me if I drink wine. How do you spell alcohol? No, I do not drink wine. So let's go and combine this with the fuzz section. yes, there's obviously some serious fun to be had with the Royce Musical Instruments, royceeffects.com internet thingy where you go and look at stuff. Repeater fuzz. Here's my gripe about this thing. Sound, cool. Creative possibilities, yes. Practical use. Obviously, back in the day when, and this is what puts this in perspective. This is why I'm not bitching about it full blast. Back in the day when Vox might have done this kind of effect, which this is based on, let's call it based on, bands might have, actually played in a room, things blasting, drummer hearing that sound, reacting to it. Nowadays, it's very difficult as a guitar player to make the drummer do anything that you're giving them rhythmically. And so, in terms of usability, something like this is incredibly difficult to put into an actual musical context, which is why I didn't produce a track. Live, it would mean that because it doesn't have tap tempo, you'd set up a tempo which just keeps on rolling, and you're playing, and the drummer has to be on your beat. Unless you're creating what I just did, like a soundscape in front of the song in the intro, and then you turn it off. So even if the drummer is on the beat and everything's fine and you're grooving whatever, then let's say for the verse and the chorus, you're turning it off. The drummer might lose that tempo, and then you're turning it on again. How is he going to grab it? So how is he going to lock into that tempo again? So in terms of a live performance, this is rather difficult. In terms of a studio performance, it is probably almost impossible unless you're running freely. And I mean, how do you sync it to the music? There's no MIDI in, there's no MIDI clock, there is no tap tempo. So it is very likely that whatever you're doing to a click will run out of sync within a few measures. And I think it's a very cool effect, and I think there's a validity to its existence. It is well done. The pedal looks good. It feels good. Way to go, Royce. My only question is, and it's probably not Royce's issue, it's your issue, how do you sync it to the music, whether it's in a recording or in a studio situation? Any effect like this, and I have some experience with trying to do stuttering effects, even with tap tempo, okay? And with pre-programmed timings. It's very difficult. I played in a band when I played with Campaign Like Clockwork last summer. I had a stutter effect just like this programmed for 130 beats perfectly on a song called Lemmings. And the drummer had 130 beats per minute, but it had to be exact. It couldn't be somewhere in the vicinity because it was it was running. So he had his 130, I had my 130. Pointless. Didn't work. So the only way to do it was I was starting, okay? I was starting, and then I was running, letting the intro run for a couple of measures, and he was trying to start his metronome exactly on the dot, exactly on the downbeat, so that his 130 was actually matching mine. And it worked a good 70% of the time. Now, he knew exactly what my tempo was. With this not having a beats per minute counter because it's analog and not having tap tempo, he would have to tap it, and then his tapping is very clearly not exactly my tapping, so you could do it for an intro for maybe 4, 8, 12 measures, and then you're off. Good enough for this. So again, it's a good sounding pedal, it's creative, something different, based on good old stuff. But how usable is it going to be for you in your musical context? That's something you have to decide. Okay. See you later.